Namaskar, good morning. This is Suraj Singh, civil engineer, professional engineer, international professional engineer, chartered engineer, Faridabad, Bharat, civil. Just to talk to you back for introduction of constitution of this country, Bharat. Namaskar, back to you to just assist you in knowing what we are on constitution of this country, Bharat, which you must know. It's your moral duty, it's your legal duty, it's your personal duty, and it's your every duty you can say, because you are part of this country, member of this country, Bharat. It is very important to know what it is. And if you know that, that's fine. Or if you try to, that's fine. Because even 90% people are unaware of this. They don't know what it is, but they should know. And I'm just trying to disseminate this information to citizens of this country that it is your country, just like your passport to go abroad. This is a passport for your rights in this country and a degree of pride it gives to claim that we have a constitution of this country, we have power in our country, we are not left to be slaves for politicians, we are not left with anything else. It is my country, it is country of 135 crore people, and we have pride in calling that I belong to this country, I am citizen of Bharat, I am citizen of India, I have absolute rights to own this country in each and every manner. I have absolute right to contribute to my country in whatever way I can, keeping in view degree of my capacity, degree of my competency, consistency, and my integrity to my motherland, fatherland, and whatever I call part of earthland. And you must have same. You may be staying wherever you want in whole world, but if you belong to this country, if you are subject of this country, you must have a pride and you must claim every year that you belong to this country. You have a right on this country, and you must be proud. You must have a degree of pride that you belong to भारत. आपको इस बात का गौरव होना चाहिए कि आप भारत के लोग हैं, आप इंडिया के लोग हैं, आप जहाँ भी कहीं रहते हो विश्व में, आपको इस बात का घमंड होना चाहिए, गौरव होना चाहिए कि हम भारत के लोग हैं, हमारे अधिकार हैं, हमारा संविधान है, हम ऐसे ही नहीं है कि किसी गुलामी करते हो, हम अपने देश के स्वयं मालिक हैं, हम देश के सॉवरन हैं, हमारा देश हमारा है, किसी और का नहीं, और हम अपने देश के अधिकारी हैं, हम अपने स्वयं में लाया है, और हम भी करते हैं अपने नेताओं को हमें सेवा करने के लिए, हमारी सेवा करने के लिए। इस बात का आपको गर्व होना चाहिए। I started a serial of constitution of this country to disseminate information about provisions, about articles included in this or constitution, so that everybody should have awareness about what is this. Because I have seen 90 to 90% people are unaware about it, and particularly youth who must be aware of this, they are not aware of that. Even politicians are not aware of that, leaders are not aware of that, position people sitting in office, high offices are not aware of that. There is an unfortunate situation that we have a document, legal document based on which our country is ruled, but we don't give regard to that document, we don't consider it very valuable, we are only considering values to those which we make money for us. But this document doesn't bring money, but it's bring value, it's bring highest degree of pride. If you are under Constitution of India, this is a question of pride. Same thing you believe in religion. You must accept Constitution as religion. Your religion, because you are reporting to this. This is giving you power, and this is very prideful. I'm saying that we should respect this in each and every way. Yesterday I was talking about this, and I reached to about Article 18. Now I'll come about that to discuss, because it's very important. Let me go to other article. In that article, I'll first speak in English and then in Hindi, so that both are understood clearly. So this Article 19 now, which is in relation to right to freedom. 19.1. All citizens shall have right to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peacefully and without arms, to form associations or unions, to move freely throughout territory of India, to reside and settle in any part of territory of India, to practice and profession, or to carry on any occupation, trade, or business. 2 is nothing in sublaw A shall affect operation of any existing law or prevent state from making any law, insofar as such law imposes reasonable restrictions on exercise of right conferred by said subclause in interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, security of state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence. Nothing in this subclause B of said clause shall affect operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevent state from making any law imposing in interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, public order, reasonable restrictions on exercise of right conferred by said subclause. Nothing in subclause of this said clause shall affect operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevents state from making any law imposing in interest of sovereignty and integrity of India or public order or morality reasonable restrictions on exercise of right conferred by said subclause. Fifth, nothing in and said subclauses of said clauses shall affect operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevents the state from making any law imposing reasonable restrictions on exercise of any of rights conferred by said subclauses either in interest of general public or for protection of interests of any still tribe. 6. Nothing in subclause at above shall affect operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevents state from making any law imposing in interests of general public reasonable restrictions and exercise of rights conferred by said subclause in particular. Nothing in the said subclause shall affect operation of any existing law insofar as it relates to or prevents state from making any law relating to 1. Professional or technical qualifications necessary for practicing any profession or carrying on any occupation, trade or business, or 2. Carrying out by state or by a corporation owned or controlled by state of any trade, business, industry or service, whether to exclusion, complete or partial of citizens or otherwise. So this is 19th article in English, and I go to Hindi version of this now so that both versions are clear and ready to you, which is very important. स्वतंत्रता अधिकार, टाइटल इज दिस स्वतंत्रता अधिकार 19(1) सभी नागरिकों को वाक स्वतंत्र, वाक मतलब बोलना होता है, बोलना शायद, वाक स्वतंत्र और अभिव्यक्ति स्वतंत्रता का है शांतिपूर्वक और निरायुध सम्मेलन का, संगम या संघ या सहकारी सोसाइटी बनाने का, भारत के राज्य क्षेत्र में सर्वत्र अबाध संचरण का, भारत के राज्य क्षेत्र के किसी भाग में निवास करने और बस जाने का, कोई वृत्ति, उपजीविका, व्यापार या कारोबार करने का अधिकार होगा। ऊपर दिए गए उपखंड की कोई बात उक्त उपखंड द्वारा दिए गए अधिकार के प्रयोग पर भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता, राज्य की सुरक्षा, विदेशी राज्यों के साथ मैत्रीपूर्ण संबंधों, लोक व्यवस्था, शिष्टाचार या सदाचार के हितों में अथवा न्यायालय, अवमान, मानहानि या अपराध, उद्दीपन के संबंधों में युक्ति युक्त निर्बंधन जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि और अधिरोपित करती है वहाँ तक उसके प्रवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या वैसे निर्बंधन अधिरोपित करने वाली कोई विधि बनाने से राज्य को निर्वारित नहीं करेगी। 3. उक्त खंड के उपखंड है कि कोई बात उक्त उपखंड द्वारा दिए गए अधिकार के प्रयोग पर भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता या लोक व्यवस्था के हितों में युक्त निर्बंधन जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि अधिरोपित करती है वहाँ तक उसके पर्वतरण पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या वैसे निर्बंधन अधिरोपित करने वाली कोई विधि बनाने के राज्य को निर्वारित नहीं करेगी। 4. उक्त खंड के उपखंड गया कि कोई बात उक्त उपखंड द्वारा दिए गए अधिकार के प्रयोग पर भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता या लोक व्यवस्था या सदाचार के हितों में युक्त निर्बंधन जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि अधिरोपित करती है वहाँ तक उसके प्रवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या वैसे निर्बंधन अधिरोपित करने वाली किसी विधि बनाने से राज्य को निर्वारित नहीं करेगी। 5. उक्त खंड के उपखंड है और उपखंड है कि कोई बात उक्त उपखंडों द्वारा दिए गए अधिकारों के प्रयोग पर साधारण जनता के हितों में या किसी अनुसूचित जनजाति के हितों के संरक्षण के लिए युक्त निर्बंधन जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि और अधिरोपित करती है वहां तक उसके प्रवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या वैसे निर्बंधन अधिरोपित करने वाली कोई विधि बनाने में राज्य को निर्धारित नहीं करेगी। 6 उक्त खंड के उपखंड 6 की कोई बात उक्त उपखंड द्वारा दिए गए अधिकार के प्रयोग पर साधारण जनता के हितों में युक्त निर्बंधन जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि अधिरोपित करती है वहां तक उसके प्रवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या वैसे निर्बंधन अधिरोपित करने वाली कोई विधि बनाने से राज्य को निर्वारित नहीं करेगी। और विशिष्टता उक्त उपखंड की कोई बात एक कोई व्यक्ति उपजीविका व्यापार या कारोबार करने के लिए आवश्यक वृत्ति या तकनीकी अर्हताओं से या दो राज्य द्वारा या राज्य के स्वामित्व या नियंत्रण में किसी निगम द्वारा कोई व्यापार कारोबार उद्योग या सेवा नागरिकों का पूर्णतः या भागत अपवर्जन करके या अन्यथा चलाए जाने से जहाँ तक कोई विद्यमान विधि संबंध रखती है वहां तक उसके प्रवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या इस प्रकार संबंध रखने वाली कोई विधि बनाने से राज्य को निर्धारित नहीं करेगी। ये होगा आपका 19 अब हिंदी में आपने सुना। अब हम चलते हैं 20 है प्रोटेक्शन विद रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ कन्विक्शन फॉर ऑफेंसेस। 20(1) नो पर्सन शैल बी कन्विक्टेड of any offense except for violation of a law in force at time of commission of act charged as an offense, nor be subject to a penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under law in force at time of commission of offense. इसमें second, no person shall be prosecuted and punished for same offense more than once. Then no person accused of any offense shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. This is 20. Let us go to now Hindi version of this. 20 Hindi version. Yeah. Yes. 20. कोई व्यक्ति किसी अपराध के लिए तब तक सिद्ध दोष नहीं ठहराया जाएगा जब तक कि उसने ऐसा कोई कार्य करने के समय जो अपराध के रूप में आरोपित है किसी प्रवृत्त विधि के अतिक्रमण नहीं किया है या उससे अधिक शासित उससे जब तक कोई व्यक्ति किसी अपराध के लिए तब तक से दोष नहीं ठहराया जाएगा जब तक कि उसने ऐसा कोई कार्य करने के समय जो अपराध के रूप में आरोपित है किसी प्रवृत्त विधि का अतिक्रमण नहीं किया है या उससे अधिक शासित का भागी नहीं होगा जो उसे अपराध के किए जाने के समय प्रवृत्त विधि के अधीन अधिरोपित की जा सकती है। किसी व्यक्ति को एक ही अपराध के लिए एक बार से अधिक अभियोजित और दंडित नहीं किया जाएगा। किसी अपराध के लिए अभियुक्त किसी व्यक्ति को स्वयं अपने विरुद्ध साक्षी होने के लिए बाध्य नहीं किया जाएगा। अभी आते हैं 21 पर। 21 इंग्लिश एक्सप्लेनेशन बाद में। No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedures established by law. 21(a) State shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of age of 6 and 6 to 14 years in such manner as the state may by law determine. This is 20 and 21(a). And now come to Hindi. Yeah. किसी व्यक्ति को उसके प्राण या दैहिक स्वतंत्रता से विधि द्वारा स्थापित प्रक्रिया के अनुसार ही वंचित किया जाएगा अन्यथा नहीं। 21 क्या है? राज्य 6 वर्ष से 14 वर्ष तक की आयु वाले सभी बालकों के लिए निःशुल्क और अनिवार्य शिक्षा देने का ऐसी रीति में जो अन्य राज्य विधि द्वारा अवधारित करे उपबंध करेगा। 22 No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of grounds for such arrest. nor shall be denied rights to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. In second one in this, every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding time necessary for journey from place of arrest to court of magistrate, and no such person shall be detained in custody beyond said period without authority of a magistrate. And third in this, nothing in clauses 1 and 2 shall apply to any person who for time being is an enemy, alien, or to any person who is arrested or detained under any law providing for preventive detention. And fourth, no law providing for detention shall authorize detention of a person for a longer period than 3 months unless an advisory board consisting of persons who are or have been or are qualified to be appointed as judges of a high court has reported before expiration of said period of 3 months that there is in its opinion sufficient cause for such detention, provided that nothing in this subclause shall authorize detention of any person beyond maximum period prescribed by any law made by Parliament under subclause B of clause 7, or such person is detained in accordance with provisions of any law made by Parliament under subclause A and B of clause 7. Fifth is when any person is detained in pursuance of any order made under any law providing for preventive detention, authority making order shall, as soon as may be, communicate to such person grounds on which order has been made and shall afford him earliest opportunity of making a presentation against order. Nothing in clause shall require authority making any such order as is referred to in that clause to disclose facts which such authority considers to be against public interest to disclose. Parliament may by law prescribe a circumstances under which and classes of cases in which a person may be detained for a period longer than 3 months under any law providing for preventive detention without obtaining opinion of an advisory board in accordance with provisions of subclause A of clause 4. The maximum period for which any person may in any class or classes of cases be detained under any law providing for preventive detention, and procedure to be followed by an advisory board in an inquiry under subclause A of clause 4. Then it is 23. So let us finish 22 in Hindi. 22. किसी व्यक्ति को जो गिरफ्तार किया गया है ऐसी गिरफ्तारी के कारणों से यथाशीघ्र अवगत कराए बिना अभिरक्षा में निरुद्ध नहीं रखा जाएगा या अपनी रुचि के विधि व्यवसाय से परामर्श करने और प्रतिरक्षा करने के अधिकार से वंचित नहीं रखा जाएगा। प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को जो गिरफ्तार किया गया है और अभिरक्षा में निरुद्ध रखा गया है, गिरफ्तारी के स्थान से मजिस्ट्रेट के न्यायालय तक यात्रा के लिए आवश्यक समय को छोड़कर ऐसी गिरफ्तारी से 24 घंटे की अवधि में निकटतम मजिस्ट्रेट के समक्ष पेश किया जाएगा और ऐसे किसी व्यक्ति को मजिस्ट्रेट के प्राधिकार के बिना उक्त अवधि से अधिक अवधि के लिए अभिरक्षा में निरुद्ध नहीं रखा जाएगा। खंड 1 और खंड 2 की कोई बात किसी ऐसे व्यक्ति को लागू नहीं होगी जो तत्समय शत्रु अन्य देशीय है या है निवारक निरोध का उपबंध करने वाले किसी विधि के अधीन गिरफ्तार या निरुद्ध किया गया है। 4 निवारक निरोध का उपबंध करने वाली कोई विधि किसी व्यक्ति का 3 महीने से 3 मास से अधिक अवधि के लिए तब तक निरुद्ध किया जाना प्राधिकृत नहीं करेगी जब तक कि ऐसे व्यक्तियों से जो उच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश हैं या न्यायाधीश रहे हैं या न्यायाधीश नियुक्त होने के लिए अर्हित हैं। मिलकर बने सलाहकार बोर्ड के 3 मास की उक्त अवधि को समाप्ति से पहले यह प्रतिवेदन नहीं दिया है कि उसकी राय में ऐसा निरोध के लिए पर्याप्त कारण है, परंतु इस उपखंड की कोई बात किसी व्यक्ति का उस अधिकतम अवधि से अधिक अवधि के लिए निरुद्ध किया जाना प्रधर्कित नहीं करेगी, जो खंड 7 के उपखंड 6 के अधीन संसद द्वारा बनाई गई विधि द्वारा विहित की गई है या है। ऐसे व्यक्ति को खंड 7 के उपखंड क और उपखंड ख के अधीन संसद द्वारा बनाई गई विधि के उपबंधों के अनुसार निरुद्ध नहीं किया जाता है। 5 निवारक निरोध का उपबंध करने वाली किसी विधि के अधीन किए गए आदेश के अनुसार में जब किसी व्यक्ति को निरुद्ध किया जाता है, तब आदेश करने वाला प्राधिकारी यथाशक्य शीघ्र उस व्यक्ति को यह सूचित करेगा कि यह आदेश किन आधारों पर किया गया है और उस आदेश के विरुद्ध अभ्यावेदन करने के लिए उसे शीघ्र अवसर देगा। 6 खंड 5 की किसी बात से ऐसा आदेश जो उस खंड के निर्देशित है करने वाले प्राधिकारी के लिए ऐसे तथ्यों को प्रकट करना आवश्यक नहीं होगा जिन्हें प्रकट करना ऐसे प्राधिकारी लोकहित के विरुद्ध समझता है। संसद विधि द्वारा विहित कर सकेगी कि किन परिस्थितियों के अधीन और किस वर्ग या वर्गों के मामले में किसी व्यक्ति को निरोध का उपबंध करने वाली किसी विधि के अधीन 3 मास से अधिक अवधि के लिए खंड 4 के उपखंड 6 के उपबंधों के अनुसार सलाहकार बोर्ड की राय प्राप्त किए बिना विरोध किया जा सकेगा। है किसी वर्ग या वर्गों के मामलों में कितनी अधिकतम अवधि के लिए किसी व्यक्ति को निर्धारक निरोध का उपबंध करने वाली किसी विधि के अधीन निरोध किया जा सकेगा। वह खंड 4 के उपखंड क के अधीन की जाने वाली जांच में सलाहकार बोर्ड द्वारा अनुसरण की जाने वाली प्रक्रिया क्या होगी। अभी आते हैं 23 पर 23। ये तो मैंने आपको बताई है किस तरह से अरेस्ट की जाती है, किस तरह से क्या होता है। अभी नाउ दिस वाज रिगार्डिंग पर्सनल प्रोटेक्शन टू लाइफ, टू लिबर्टी एंड ऑल दैट which are self-explanatory and related to police and law and order situation of a country like ours. So we have to be very careful about that. We cannot allow ourselves to be taken as kidnapped by police in any way. You have a right to ask questions. The police officer will come to you to ask, because without warrant or even if he asks, you can ask, he has to tell you what under IPC or more statutory provisions of other acts you are under arrest or being held, and all procedure must be followed. Means sometimes what happens, people just come and claiming that they belong to police and they are not police people, they are just impersonators, and you have to be careful about that. This, you are educated people, you can do that by say actually applies to those people who are staying in remote villages and they don't know anything about law and order, they don't understanding, and they are misconducted and mistreated by those people. Though there is a fundamental issuance in Constitution of India regarding this, every provision is made, but people don't bother about that. Police people think they are kings, and law and order is just condemned, broken, and you can say made obsolete. But law is law. Constitution. This is particular not in the sexual prison, or this is not in the civil procedure or criminal procedure. This is a part of the Constitution of this country, which is very significant in consideration. If you can understand that, very fine. That's the reason I'm giving it to you, to get into complete applications of what you want to do or not to do. If you just comprehend this, it will be fine. If you don't comprehend this, this is your problem. But my duty I'm doing now. Come to right against exploitation. Article 23(1). Traffic in human beings and beggar, traffic in human beings and beggar, and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited, and any contravention of this provision shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law. This is 23(1). 2. Nothing in this article shall prevent a state from imposing compulsory service for public purposes, and in imposing such service, a state shall not make any discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, class, or any of them. I'll take 24 also, and so 23 to 24 I can talk together. 24. No child below age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engaged in any other hazardous employment. So let us take 23 and 24 in Hindi, and this is 23. शोषण के विरुद्ध अधिकार, एक मानव का दुर्व्यवहार, मानव का दुर्व्यापार और बेगार तथा इसी प्रकार का अन्य बलात् श्रम प्रतिषिद्धि किया जाता है, और इस उपबंध का कोई भी उल्लंघन अपराध होगा जो विधि के अनुसार दंडनीय होगा। दो है, इन अनुच्छेद की कोई बात राज्य को सार्वजनिक प्रयोजनों के लिए अनिवार्य सेवा अधिरोपित करने से निर्वारित नहीं करेगी। ऐसी सेवा अधिरोपित करने में राज्य के केवल धर्म, मूलवंश, जाति या वर्ग या इसमें इनमें से किसी के आधार पर कोई भेद नहीं करेगा। 14 वर्ष की कम आयु के किसी बालक को किसी कारखाने या खान में काम करने के लिए नियोजित नहीं किया जाएगा या किसी अन्य परिसंकट में नियोजन में नहीं लगाया जाएगा। यह 23-24 कोई ज़्यादा एक्सप्लेनेशन की आवश्यकता नहीं है, ऑलरेडी सेल्फ एक्सप्लेन है। बच्चे को आप नहीं लगा सकते, सिंपल बात है। 14 साल से कम वाले को तो आपको प्रॉब्लम में आएंगे। इसी तरह से आप आते हैं धर्म की स्वतंत्रता का अधिकार, पहले इंग्लिश में। धर्म जो बहुत बड़ा इशू है आजकल, very big issue. You should not be there, but it is there, unfortunately, due to political reasons, political misadventure, you can say. We have been passing through a phase of nonsense in this country and should be demolished, particularly by those people who are young, who are intellectual, but they are not doing their job. They are not thinking of this country. They are thinking of their existence, survival, and salary earning only. Money doesn't make everything everywhere. Money values, but it doesn't value as far as country is concerned, because those who live their lives for liberation of this country, they didn't think of money and their personal lives. They did something for you, because we are living now in a liberated country, not slavery of British. But we don't understand this, because we got something cooked one. We did not do anything. We did not contribute any procedure into cooking. We just got our food free of cost, and that's the reason we are suffering now. And we are not caring about this. Everybody, youth are really, I'm very upset with youth of current generation who don't care for this country, who just care for themselves, their jobs and their education, and they don't got country at all, no patriotism at all. And this is a really bad state of affairs in our country. Well, this is something else I explained it. Now done. Come to right to freedom of religion, 25:1. Subject to public order, morality, and health, and to other provisions of this part, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right freely to profess, practice, and propagate religion. And once again, read this, so that is very significant one, to keep country in order, in harmonious way, in coherent way, in integrated way. That's why it's very important to understand this in an analytical way. Subject to public order, morality, public order and morality, and health, and to other provisions of this part, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience. We must understand this. All persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right freely to profess, practice, and propagate religion. This is very complicated and very gross provision here in this article 25:1, because it involves so many inputs from other articles and from other provisions. For example, profess, we call profession. In fact, religion is a profession itself, but it's personal profession. It's not commercial profession, or it's not business profession. It's a profession. It's profess, practice, just like profession is practice and propagate religion and promotion of religion, dissemination of knowledge of religion. If you intend to do, you can do that. That means this. Number 2 in this is, nothing in this article shall affect operation of any existing law or prevent state from making any law. Again, the term is coming, existing law, which we discussed before, and which is also very important, because existing law is not a term of current time. It's a time pre-independence, pre-constitution constitution implementation, before 1950 or 1947, whatever laws are applicable and were not we can say demolished, you can say not restructured by president at that time for a period of 7 years after 47. Those are all called existing law. Again, I'm repeating, existing law means law enacted by Parliament of British before 1947 in any form, either in form of statute or in form of charter, in form of whatever else. They are also existing law, and existing law is still titled existing law. So be careful about that, just to understand what we're talking about. A, regulating or restricting any economic, financial, political, or other secular activity which may be associated with religious practice, providing for social welfare and reform, or throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of a public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. Explanation is given there. Wearing and carrying of kirpans, wearing and carrying of kirpans shall be deemed to be included in profession of Sikh religion. Explanation 2. In subclause above, so reference to Hindus shall be construed as including a reference to persons professing Sikh, Jaina or Buddhist religion, and reference to Hindu religious institutions shall be construed accordingly. Well, just for explanation is now this is 25th, and let us take 26 along with this so that I have not to change immediately. Subject to public order, morality, and health, even every religion, denomination, or any section thereof shall have right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes, to manage its own affairs in matters of religion, to own and acquire movable and immovable property, and to administer such property in accordance with law. So 25 and 26, let us go through हिंदी वन। धर्म की स्वतंत्रता का अधिकार 25(1) लोक व्यवस्था, सदाचार और स्वास्थ्य तथा इस भाग के अन्य उपबंधों के अधीन रहते हुए सभी व्यक्तियों को अंतःकरण की स्वतंत्रता का और धर्म के अबाध रूप से मानने, आचरण करने और प्रचार करने का समान हक होगा। 2. इस अनुच्छेद की कोई बात किसी ऐसे विद्यमान विधि के परिवर्तन पर प्रभाव नहीं डालेगी या राज्य को कोई ऐसी विधि बनाने से निर्वारित नहीं करेगी जो धार्मिक आचरण से संबंध किसी आर्थिक, वित्तीय, राजनीतिक या अन्य लौकिक क्रियाकलाप का विनियमन या निर्बंधन करती है। सामाजिक कल्याण और सुधार के लिए या सार्वजनिक प्रकार की हिंदुओं की धार्मिक संस्थाओं को हिंदुओं के सभी वर्गों और अनुभागों के लिए खोलने का उपलब्ध करती है। स्पष्टीकरण 1. कृपाण धारण करना और लेकर चलना सिख धर्म के मानने का अंग समझा जाएगा। स्पष्टीकरण 2. खंड 2 के उपखंड में हिंदुओं के प्रति निर्देश का यह अर्थ लगाया जाएगा कि उसके अंतर्गत सिख, जैन या बौद्ध धर्म के मानने वाले व्यक्ति के प्रति निर्देश है और हिंदुओं की धार्मिक संस्थाओं के प्रति निर्देश का अर्थ तदनुसार लगाया जाएगा। मैं आपको बता दूं, सिख धर्म अलग से माना जाता है, लेकिन कोई बात नहीं, एक्सप्लेनेशन हो सकता है बाद में अमेंड किया, उसमें इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं अगर है तो आप देख लीजिए या बना दें बाद में। 26 में क्या है? 26 में लोक व्यवस्था, सदाचार और स्वास्थ्य के अधीन रहते हुए प्रत्येक धार्मिक संप्रदाय या उसके किसी अनुभाग को धार्मिक और पूर्त प्रयोजनों के लिए संस्थाओं की स्थापना और पोषण का, अपने धर्म विषयक कार्यों का प्रबंध करने का, जंगम और स्थावर संपत्ति के अर्जन और स्वामित्व का और ऐसी संपत्ति का विधि के अनुसार प्रसारण करने का अधिकार होगा। तो धर्म की बात रह गई। धर्म के बारे में आप सब जानते ही हैं और ये प्रोविजंस हैं। अब इस 27 आर्टिकल पे आते हैं। धर्म समझना इतना आसान नहीं है। हम लोग लड़ते हैं, खामखा के लड़ाई करते हैं। देयर इज नो मीनिंग एट ऑल। दे आर जस्ट क्रिएटिंग पॉलिटिक्स इन नेम ऑफ रिलीजन एंड रिलीजन हैज बीन कन्वर्टेड टू पॉलिटिक्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स हैज बीन कन्वर्टेड टू रिलीजन, बोथ वे टू एंड ऑल। एनीवे, no criticism here because it doesn't matter. My purpose is not to cite religion or religion, but it's only to disseminate information to each and every citizen of this country so that they know about this if they are interested. So, however, 27, no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, proceeds of which are specifically appropriated in payment of expenses for promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denomination. This is taxes. Again, no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, proceeds of which are specifically appropriated in payment of expenses for promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denominations. 27, इसका भी चेंज करते हैं इंग्लिश में, हिंदी में। 27, किसी भी व्यक्ति को ऐसे करों या संदाएं करने के लिए बाध्य नहीं किया जाएगा जिसके आगम किसी विशिष्ट धर्म या धार्मिक संप्रदाय की अभिवृद्धि या पोषण में व्यय करने के लिए विनिर्देशित रूप से विनियोजित किए जाते हैं। इसके बाद आइए 28 पर। 28(1). No religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution wholly maintained out of state funds. Very important. No religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution wholly maintained out of state fund. Nothing in this clause shall apply to an educational institution which is administered by state but has been established under any endowment or trust which requires that religious instruction shall be imparted in such institution. No person attending any educational institution recognized by state or receiving aid out of state funds shall be required to take part in any religious instruction that may be imparted in such institution or to attend any religious worships that may be conducted in such institutions or in any premises attached thereto, unless such person or if such person is a minor, his guardian has given his consent thereto. This is 28. So इसको भी हिंदी में बोलना जरा। राज्य निधि से पूर्णतः भूपोषित किसी शिक्षा संस्थान में कोई धार्मिक शिक्षा नहीं दी जाएगी। खंड 1 की कोई बात ऐसे शिक्षा संस्थानों को लागू नहीं होगी जिसका प्रशासन राज्य करता है, किंतु जो किसी ऐसे विन्यास या न्यास के अधीन स्थापित हुई है जिसके अनुसार उस संस्था में धार्मिक शिक्षा देना आवश्यक है। राज्य से मान्यता प्राप्त या राज्य निधि से सहायता पाने वाली शिक्षा संस्था में उपस्थित होने वाले किसी व्यक्ति को ऐसी संस्था में दी जाने वाली धार्मिक शिक्षा में भाग लेने के लिए या ऐसी संस्था में या उससे संलग्न स्थान में की जाने वाली धार्मिक उपासना में उपस्थित होने के लिए तब तक बाध्य नहीं किया जाएगा जब तक कि उस व्यक्ति ने या यदि आवश्यक है तो उसके संरक्षक ने इसके लिए अपनी सहमति नहीं दी है। तो ये एक्सप्लेनेशन में सेल्फ ही है। अब आते हैं संस्कृति पे, 29 आर्टिकल पे। 29 कल्चरल एंड एजुकेशनल राइट्स। कल्चरल एंड एजुकेशनल राइट्स। 29(1). Any section of citizens residing in territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have right to conserve same. 2. No citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by state or receiving aid out of state funds on grounds only of religion, race, caste, language or any of them. 29 इसका भी हिंदी रूपांतर जरा देख लें। हिंदी रूपांतर, संस्कृति और शिक्षा संबंधी अधिकार। 29(1). भारत के राज्य क्षेत्र या उसके किसी भाग के निवासी नागरिकों के किसी अनुभाग को जिसकी अपनी विशेष भाषा, लिपि या संस्कृति है उसे बनाए रखने का अधिकार होगा। राज्य द्वारा पोषित या राज्य निधि से सहायता पाने वाली किसी शिक्षा संस्था में प्रवेश से किसी भी नागरिक को केवल धर्म, मूल वंश, जाति, भाषा या इनमें से किसी के आधार पर वंचित नहीं किया जाएगा। 30 चलते हैं 30। आर्टिकल 30। राइट ऑफ minorities to establish and administer educational institutions anywhere. All minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. 1(a). In making of any law, providing for compulsory acquisition of any property of an educational institution established and administered by a minority referred to in clause 1, state shall ensure that amount fixed by or determined under such law for acquisition of such property is such as would not restrict or abrogate right guaranteed under that clause. 2. State shall not, in granting aid to educational institutions, discriminate against any educational institution on ground that it is under management of a minority, whether based on religion or language. So this is 30 धर्म या भाषा पर आधारित सभी अल्पसंख्यक वर्गों को अपनी रुचि के शिक्षा संस्थाओं की स्थापना और प्रशासन का अधिकार होगा। एक वन के खंड एक में निर्देशित किसी अल्पसंख्यक वर्ग द्वारा स्थापित और प्रशासित शिक्षा संस्थान की संपत्ति के अनिवार्य अर्जन के लिए उपबंध करने वाली विधि बनाते समय राज्य यह सुनिश्चित करेगा कि ऐसी संपत्ति के अर्जन के लिए ऐसी विधि द्वारा नियत या उसके अधीन अवधारित रकम इतनी हो कि उस खंड के अधीन प्रत्याभूत अधिकार निर्बंधित या निराकृत न हो जाए। शिक्षा संस्थाओं को सहायता देने में राज्य किसी शिक्षा संस्था के विरुद्ध इस आधार पर विभेद नहीं करेगा कि वह धर्म या भाषा पर आधारित किसी अल्पसंख्यक वर्ग के प्रबंधन में है। आगे चलते हैं। ये तो अब इतना नहीं है कि इसमें सब कुछ बताया जाए, क्योंकि ये ऑलरेडी सिंपल लैंग्वेज में है। और क्या हो गया 31. Compulsory acquisition of property repealed by Constitution only. Savings of certain laws. Article 31A. Notwithstanding anything contained in Article 13, no law providing for a acquisition by state of any estate or of any rights therein, or extinguishment or modification of any such rights, or b. taking over of management of any property by state for a limited period, either in public interest or in order to secure proper management of property. C. Amalgamation of two or more corporations, either in public interest or in order to secure proper management of any of corporations. D. Extinguishment or modification of any rights of management agent, secretary and treasurers, managing directors or managers of corporations or of any voting rights or shareholders thereof. E. Extinguishment or modification of any rights accruing by virtues of any agreement, lease or license for purpose of searching for or winning any mineral or mineral oil, or premature termination or cancellation of any such agreement, lease or license shall be deemed to be void on ground that it is inconsistent with or takes away or abridges any of rights conferred by Article 14 or Article 19, provided that where such law is a law made by a legislature of a state, provisions of this article shall not apply thereto unless such law, having been reserved for consideration of President, has received the consent. Provided further that where any law makes any provision for acquisition by a state of any estate, and where any land comprised between therein is held by a person under his personal cultivation, it shall not be lawful for state to acquire any portion of such land as is within ceiling limit applicable to him under any law for time being in force, or any building or structure standing thereon or appertinent thereto, unless law relating to acquisition of such land, building or structure provides for payment of compensation at rate which shall not be less than market value thereof. In this article, expression estate shall in relation to any local area have same meaning as that expression or its local equivalent has in existing law relating to land tenures in force in that area, and shall also include any jagir, inam or muafi or other similar grant, and in the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala any jan mam right. Any land held under Riyot Wari settlement, any land held or let for purposes of agriculture or purposes ancillary thereto, including waste land, forest land, land for pasture, or sites of buildings and other structures, occupied by cultivators of land, agriculture, laborers, and village artisans. Expression rights in relation to an estate shall include any rights vested in a proprietor, sub-proprietor, under-proprietor, tenure holder, rayat, under-rayat, or other intermediary, and any rights or privileges in respect of that land, land revenue. 31B, without prejudice to generality of provisions contained in Article 31A, none of acts and regulations specified in ninth schedule, nor any of provisions thereof shall be deemed to be void, or even to have become void, on ground that such act, regulation, or provision is inconsistent with, or takes away, or abridges any of rights conferred by any provisions of this part, and notwithstanding any judgment, decree, or order of any court or tribunal to contrary, each of said acts and regulations shall subject to power of any competent legislature to repeal or amend it continuing force. 31C. Notwithstanding anything contained in Article 13, no law giving effect to policy of state towards securing all or any of principals laid down in Part 4 shall be deemed to be void on ground that it is inconsistent with or takes away or abridges any of rights conferred by Article 14 or Article 19, and no law containing a declaration that it is for giving effect to such policy shall be called in question in any court on ground that it does not give effect to such policy, provided that where such law is made by legislature of a state, provisions of this article shall not apply thereto unless such law having been reserved for consideration of President has received his assent. 31D. Savings of laws in respect of anti-national activities repealed by Constitution. Now it is all 31 A, B, C. We go to Hindi version of that and see what it speaks. 31 हिंदी 31 संपत्ति का अनिवार्य अर्जन संविधान 44 संशोधन अधिनियम 2000 की धारा 6 द्वारा कुछ विधियों का व्यवसाय 31 के अनुच्छेद 13 में अंतर्विशिष्ट किसी बात के होते हुए भी किसी संपदा के या उसमें किसी अधिकारों के राज्य द्वारा अर्जन के लिए या किन्हीं ऐसे अधिकारों के निर्वापन या उनमें परिवर्तन के लिए या है किसी संपत्ति का प्रबंध लोकहित में या उस संपत्ति का उचित प्रबंध सुनिश्चित करने के उद्देश्य से परिसीमित अवधि के लिए राज्य द्वारा ले जाने के लिए या गए दो या अधिक निगमों को लोकहित में या उन निगमों में से किसी का उचित प्रबंध सुनिश्चित करने के उद्देश्य से समामेलित करने के लिए या निगमों के प्रबंध अभिकर्ताओं सचिवों और कोषाध्यक्षों प्रबंध निर्देशकों या प्रबंधकों के किन्हीं अधिकारों या उनके शेयर धारकों के मत देने के किन्हीं अधिकारों के निर्वापन या उनमें परिवर्तन के लिए या किसी खनिज या खनिज तेल की खोज करने या उससे प्राप्त करने के प्रयोजन के लिए किसी करार पट्टे या अनुज्ञापित के आधार पर क्रोधभूत होने वाले किसी अधिकारियों के निर्वापन या उनमें परिवर्तन के लिए या किसी ऐसे करार पट्टे या अनुज्ञापित को समय से पहले समाप्त करने या रद्द करने के लिए उपबंध करने वाली विधि इस आधार पर शून्य नहीं समझी जाएगी कि वह अनुच्छेद 14 या अनुच्छेद 19 द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारियों में से किसी से असंगत है या उसे छीनती है या न्यून करती है, परंतु जहां ऐसी विधि किसी राज्य के विधानमंडल द्वारा बनाई गई विधि है वहां इस अनुच्छेद के उपबंध इस विधि को तब तक लागू नहीं होंगे जब तक ऐसी विधि को जो राष्ट्रपति के विचार के लिए आरक्षित रखी गई है उसकी अनुमति प्राप्त नहीं हो गई। परंतु यह और कि जहां किसी विधि में किसी संपदा के राज्य द्वारा अर्जन के लिए कोई उपबंध किया गया है और जहां उसमें समाविष्ट कोई भूमि किसी व्यक्ति की अपनी जोत में है वहाँ राज्य के लिए ऐसी भूमि के ऐसे भाग को जो किसी तत्समय प्रवर्ती विधि के अधीन उसको लागू अधिकतम सीमा के भीतर है या उस पर निर्मित या उससे अनुलग्न किसी भवन या संरचना की अर्जित करना उस दशा के सिवाय विधि पूर्व नहीं होगा जिस दशा में ऐसी भूमि भवन या संरचना के अर्जन से संबंधित विधि उस दर से प्रतिकर के संदाय के लिए उपबंध करती है जो उसके बाजार मूल्य से कम नहीं होगी। इस अनुच्छेद में संपदा पद का किसी स्थानीय क्षेत्र के संबंध में वही अर्थ है जो उस पद का या उसके समतुल्य स्थानीय पद का उस क्षेत्र में प्रवर्त भूधृतियों से संबंधित विद्यमान विधि में है और इसके अंतर्गत कोई जागीर इनाम या मुआफी अथवा वैसा ही अन्य अनुदान और तमिलनाडु और केरल राज्यों में कोई जन्म अधिकार भी होगा। रैयतवाड़ी बंदोबस्त के अधीन धृत कोई भूमि भी होगी। कृषि के प्रयोजन के लिए या उसके सहायक प्रयोजनों के लिए धृत या पट्टे पर दी गई कोई भूमि भी होगी जिसके अंतर्गत बंजर भूमि वन भूमि चरागाह या भूमि के परिपक्व कृषि श्रमिक और ग्रामीण कारीगरों के अभियोग में भवनों अधिभोग में भवनों और अन्य संरचनाओं के स्थल हैं। अधिकार पद के अंतर्गत किसी संपदा के संबंध में किसी स्वत्वधारी उपस्वत्वधारी अवर स्वत्वधारी भूतृधारक रैयत अवर रैयत या अन्य मध्यवर्ती में निहित कोई अधिकार और भू राजस्व के संबंध में कोई अधिकार या विशेषाधिकार होंगे। 31 है अनुच्छेद 31 क में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय उपबंधों को व्यापकता या पर प्रतिकूल प्रभाव डाले बिना 9वीं अनुसूची में विनिर्देशित अधिनियमों और विनियमों में से और उसके उपबंधों में से कोई इस आधार पर शून्य या कभी शून्य हुआ नहीं समझा जाएगा कि वह अधिनियम विनियम या उपबंध इस भाग के किन्हीं उपबंधों द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारियों में से किसी से असंगत है या उसे छीनता है या न्यून करता है और किसी न्यायालय या अधिकरण के किसी प्रतिकूल निर्णय डिक्री या आदेश के होते हुए भी उक्त अधिनियमों और विनियमों में से प्रत्येक उसे निरसित या संशोधित करने का किसी सक्षम विधान मंडल की शक्ति के अधीन रहते हुए प्रवृत्त बना रहेगा। 31 गैर अनुच्छेद 13 में किसी बात के होते हुए भी कोई विधि जो भाग 4 में अधिकृत सभी या किन्हीं तत्वों को सुनिश्चित करने के लिए राज्य की नीति को प्रभावी करने वाली है इस आधार पर शून्य नहीं समझी जाएगी कि वह अनुच्छेद 14 या अनुच्छेद 19 द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारियों में से और किसी से असंगत या उनके छीनती है या न्यून करती उसे छीनती है या न्यून करती और किसी कोई विधि जिसमें यह दृढ़ घोषणा है कि वह ऐसी नीति को प्रभावी करने के लिए है किसी न्यायालय में इस आधार पर प्रश्नगत नहीं की जाएगी कि वह ऐसी नीति को प्रभावी नहीं करती। परंतु जहाँ ऐसी विधि किसी राज्य के विधानमंडल द्वारा बनाई जाती है वहाँ इस अनुच्छेद के उपबंध उस विधि को तब तक लागू नहीं होंगे जब तक ऐसी विधि को जो राष्ट्रपति के विचार के लिए आरक्षित रखी गई है उसकी अनुमति प्राप्त नहीं हो गई है। इकतीस है राष्ट्रीय विरोधी क्रियाकलाप के संबंध में विधियों को व्यावर्ती संविधान 43 अधिनियम 97 की धारा 2 द्वारा निरसित किया गया। अभी आते हैं 32 पे, टाइम देखें कितना रहेगा भाई। 32 पे 53 मिनट हो गए, आगे चलते हैं। 32 पे देखने में अच्छा लगे शायद। इंजीनियर अशोक इज ऑनलाइन, वेरी गुड। इंजीनियर अशोक मनार फ्रॉम भोपाल, वेलकम इंजीनियर अशोक, आई सीन योर नेम हियर। चलो अच्छा है, सुबह उठ के कुछ टाइम लगा रहे हो। Just for information, I'm telling you, Engineer Ashok is a chartered structural engineer, a post-graduation qualification of, and very advanced in engineering, and he has interest in law and other issues also. He's a professional engineer, in fact. Well, right to constitutional remedies. 32(1). Right to move Supreme Court by appropriate proceedings for enforcement of rights conferred by this part is guaranteed. I'm just now talking about an article that's 31. 32(1), right to constitutional remedy. This is an exclusive, important, significant article for every citizen of this country, with this grants some very specific right to everyone. Right to move Supreme Court by appropriate proceedings for enforcement of rights conferred by this part is guaranteed. Two, Supreme Court shall have power to issue directions or orders or writs, including writs in nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and certiorari, whichever may be appropriate for enforcement of any of rights conferred by this part. This is very, very, very significant right for every citizen to reach Supreme Court to avail PILs, in fact. Well, we'll talk later on. Just I'm informing what it is. 3. Without prejudice to powers conferred on Supreme Court by Clause 1 and 2, Parliament may by law empower any other court to exercise within local limits of its jurisdiction all and any of powers exercisable by Supreme Court under Clause 2. Right guaranteed by this article shall not be suspended except as otherwise provided for by this Constitution. 32A. Constitutional validity of state laws not to be considered in proceedings under Article 32. This is qualification of this. You can say you cannot just move anything. There's a specification and there's a expressions which can be considered for doing 32. 32A clarifies that. So let's go to Hindi version of 32. संवैधानिक उपचारों का अधिकार, उपचार कहते हैं इलाज को, इस भाग द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारियों को प्रवर्तित कराने के लिए समुचित कार्यवाहियों द्वारा उच्चतम न्यायालय में समावेदन करने का अधिकार प्रत्याभूत किया जाता है। इस भाग द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारियों में से किसी को प्रवर्तित कराने के लिए उच्चतम न्यायालय को ऐसे निर्देश या आदेश या रिट जिनके अंतर्गत बंदी, प्रत्यक्षीकरण, परमादेश, प्रतिषेध अधिकार, प्रशा और उत्प्रेषण रिट है, जो भी समुचित हो निकालने की शक्ति होगी। उच्चतम न्यायालय को खंड 1 और 2 द्वारा प्रदत्त शक्तियों पर प्रतिकूल प्रभाव डाले बिना संसद उच्चतम न्यायालय द्वारा खंड 2 के अधीन प्रयुक्त किन्हीं या सभी शक्तियों का किसी अन्य न्यायालय को अपनी अधिकारिकता की स्थानीय सीमाओं के भीतर प्रयोग करने के लिए विधि द्वारा सशक्त कर सकेगी। इस संविधान द्वारा अन्यथा उपबंधित के सिवाय इस अनुच्छेद द्वारा प्रत्याभूत अधिकार निलंबित नहीं किया जाएगा। 32 के राज्य विधियों की संवैधानिक वैधता पर अनुच्छेद 32 के अधीन कार्यवाहियों में विचार न किया जाना संविधान 43वें संविधान अधिनियम 77 की धारा 3 से निराश है। Now, why this is very important? Because recently you must have understood that journalist was arrested from UP, and that person was just arrested because he was writing something against UP minister and some woman. That person was arrested, and Supreme Court this person's wife reached Supreme Court, and that journalist was released because that petition was moved under Article 32. Question was raised in court. Supreme Court asked, okay, this person wrote something wrong or whatever he did, no problem. But question is, on what basis he was arrested? There was no response from police, and that person was released from bail. This is what I am saying. Is this article is very significant. One means you can directly the Supreme Court when there is a violation of fundamental rights, or the law is conferred some authority against you, and there is no applicable on other various statutes that can be used to get you against the remedy. Well, Article 33, Parliament may be by law. Well, I will discuss this 32 also. We as engineers did something, but it was not supported by people of this country, by other engineers. But that's also to be moved on 32, which is still pending for last 2 years. And I have started working on that because there is no support from other sources, external sources. Well, we'll take it if we are here, and if people support that, it's in the interest of the engineering community. Well, if they don't work well, because I'm calling this country sleeping country. Well, I claim now this is a sleeping country because people are not interested in this country. They are only interested in personal and family survival and survival of their own. People are only interested in their own. They get all fruits from their own. They are not concerned about this country. They are not concerned. If that happened, Modi would not be back. somebody others will be back, but this will happen. And again, all criminals are back. 233 criminals are sitting in Lok Sabha as MPs, and when a country is ruled by criminals, 233 means you can say 45% or 43% members were responsible one, and they have been elected by people of this country, and they rule in this country. You know, future of that country. What shall be? If there is a one bad fish spoils whole reservoir. Same thing is happening. There are 233 fishes, bad fishes in reservoir of Lok Sabha, and what shall happen to that? You understand very well. There's no need explaining it again and again, because people are foolish. People are sleeping. Politicians are looting them. Let them be looted. Let them enjoy their life. And Modi is one of them, and all other are one of them. Modi is leader of those criminals, and also some 19 criminals are from Congress and many others from many parties. So leaders are like that. I and you cannot be politicians because without the 50 crores to spend in elections, and I cannot win and you cannot win. So we have to surrender to these people as slaves. So you can say we are modern slaves in this country. All educated people are super slaves. Engineers, doctors are further super slaves because they are only power in this country which can change this country, but they are not considering. Doctors have converted themselves to businessmen. They are just money oriented. Engineers are sleeping society. They don't care for the. You go anywhere, you don't find any quality anywhere in any discipline. No accuracy, no quality matter, nothing else. That's what I'm saying. Engineers are on top. They are controllers of country. They are practically voters, but they are not doing anything else. It brings regret to me that why I belong to engineering community. Unfortunately, well, no criticism here, but this is a fact of life that we are a sleeping society. We are not a serious society. We don't want to have a destiny, achieve milestone phase, or whatever we want to do. We cannot achieve this because we are sloop. We are only society in this world that we call ourselves an advanced country. And what advancement is? Negative advanced country. It's not a modern country. It's an ancient country, and we are talking about Mahabharata time and Ramayana time and all foolish chief ministers. And they are interested in Hindu Rashtra, bloody RSS and bloody government, and this all they think of Hindu Rashtra and all that. They're talking nonsense. 11 things they are not doing for the country. People are not worried at all. Well, it's not my alone problem for nation. They are not worried about people. They are worried about nonsense. They are talking of imaginations and dreams, and they are not going to solve these problems. But the people are facing it. People are facing unemployment. People are facing problems. He is talking of $5 trillion economy, and he doesn't understand the meaning of $5 trillion. They are just talking. Their markets, they are selling their images. They are selling their horizons. They are selling their, you can say, mirages, and they are selling talks. And engineers are just silent as if they are not existing. They are dead bodies, you can say, with dead souls. 33. Parliament may be Parliament by law determined to what extent any of rights conferred by part shall in their applications to members of armed forces. That is say, Parliament may by law determine to what extent any of rights conferred by this part shall in their applications to members of armed forces or members of forces charged with maintenance of public order or persons employed in any bureau or other organizations established by state for purpose of intelligence or counterintelligence, persons employed in or in connection with telecommunication systems set up for purposes of any force, bureau or organization referred to clause A to C be restricted or abrogated so as to ensure proper discharge of their duties and maintenance of discipline among them. Article 43 talk in Hindi. संसद विधि द्वारा अवधारण कर सकेगी कि इस भाग द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकारों में से कोई सशस्त्र बलों के सदस्यों को या लोक व्यवस्था बनाए रखने का भार साधन करने वाली बलों के सदस्यों को या गैर आसूचना या प्रति आसूचना के प्रयोजनों के लिए राज्य द्वारा स्थापित किसी ब्यूरो या अन्य संगठन में नियोजित व्यक्तियों को या खंड कै या खंड से खंड गै में निर्देशित किसी बल ब्यूरो या संगठन के प्रयोजनों के लिए स्थापित दूरसंचार प्रणाली में या उसके संबंध में नियोजित व्यक्तियों को लागू होने में किस विस्तार तक निर्बंधित या निराकृत किया जाए जिससे उसके कर्तव्यों का उचित पालन और उनमें अनुशासन बना रहना सूचित रहे। मुश्किल होता है हिंदी में, आप पढ़ना क्या करेगा। Well, 34. Notwithstanding anything in foregoing provisions of this part, Parliament may by law indemnify persons in serving of union or state or any other persons in respect of any act done by him in connection with maintenance or restoration of order on any area within territory of India where martial law was enforced or validate any sentence passed, punishment inflicted, forfeiture ordered, or other act done under martial law in such areas. 34 34 इस भाग के पूर्वगामी उपबंधों में किसी बात के होते हुए भी संसद विधि द्वारा संघ या किसी राज्य को सेवा में किसी व्यक्ति की या किसी अन्य व्यक्ति की किसी ऐसे कार्य के संबंध में क्षतिपूर्ति कर सकेगी जो उसके भारत के राज्य क्षेत्र के भीतर किसी ऐसे क्षेत्र में जहां सेना विधि प्रवर्त थी व्यवस्था के बनाए रखने या पुनः स्थापन के संबंध में किया है या ऐसे क्षेत्र में सेना विधि के अधीन पारित दंडादेश दिए गए दंड अधिष्ठ संपहरण या किसी किए गए अन्य कार्य को विधि मान्य कर सकेगी. 35 I'm a little fast because notwithstanding I think this constitution is entitled legislature to give effect to provisions of this part is notwithstanding anything in constitution parliament shall have and legislature of state shall not have power to make laws with respect to any of the matters. See, Parliament shall not have with respect to any of matters which under clause 3 of Article 16, clause 3 of Article 22, Article 33 and Article 34 which we just talked may be provided for by law made by Parliament and for prescribing punishment for those acts which are declared to be offences under this part, and Parliament shall, as soon as may be after commencement of this constitution, make laws for prescribing punishment for acts referred to in subclause 2. B. Any law in force immediately before commencement of this constitution. Read this. Any law in force immediately before commencement of this constitution in territories of India with respect to any of matters referred to in subclause 1 of clause A or providing for punishment for any act referred to in subclause 2 or that of that clause shall subject to terms thereof and to any adaptations and modifications that may be made therein under Article 372 continue in force until altered or repealed or amended by Parliament. In this article, the expression law in force has same meaning as in Article 372. So this is law. 35 and let us see this in Hindi. 35 इस संविधान में किसी बात के होते हुए भी संसद को शक्ति होगी और किसी राज्य के विधान मंडल को शक्ति नहीं होगी कि वह जिन विषयों के लिए अनुच्छेद 16 के खंड 3, अनुच्छेद 32 के खंड 3, अनुच्छेद 33 और अनुच्छेद 34 के अधीन संसद विधि द्वारा उपबंध कर सकेगी उनमें से किसी के लिए और ऐसे कार्यों के लिए जो इस भाग के अधीन अपराध घोषित किए गए हैं दंड विहित करने के लिए विधि बनाए और संसद इन संविधान के प्रारंभ के पश्चात यथाशक्ति शीघ्र ऐसे कार्यों के लिए जो उपखंड 2 में निर्देशित हैं दंड विहित करने के लिए विधि बनाएगी. खंड के उपखंड 1 में निर्देशित विषयों में से किसी के संबंधित या उस खंड के 2 में निर्देशित किसी कार्य के लिए दंड का उपबंध करने वाली कोई प्रवृत्ति विधि जो भारत के राज्य क्षेत्र में संविधान के प्रारंभ से ठीक पहले प्रवृत्त थी उसके निबंधनों और अनुच्छेद 372 के अधीन उसमें किए गए किन्हीं अनुकूलनों और उपांतरणों के अधीन रहते हुए तब तक प्रवृत्त रहेगी जब तक उसका संसद द्वारा परिवर्तन या निरसन या संशोधन नहीं किया जाता है. स्पष्टीकरण इस अनुच्छेद में प्रवृत्ति विधि पद का वही अर्थ है जो अनुच्छेद 372 में है. भाग 4 में आते हैं. पार्ट 4 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ दिस कंट्री. Directive principle of this state, yes, that is another one. Let us hold a halt here and I'm just going to say why up to now we have talked many laws which are very significant for each and every citizen of this country and which you must understand in details and thoroughly because these affect your life positively or negatively, and if you are unaware of these laws, you are ignorant of these laws, you may be negatively impacted by any person in this country, officer, politician or someone who is empowered to implement laws and who can personally impact on you. Police can impact on you, judiciary can impact on you, even others can impact on you, officers can impact on you, and all those IS officers and those officers who are just playing with games with public, they can impact on you. So it is very important for every citizen of this country, every engineer, doctor, professional, highly educated people, intelligentsia, illiterate, all who constitute this country, Bharat, must be aware of this. And if they know this much, they can protect themselves whenever it's required and law impacts upon them. Direct to principle are different, but if we have to reach there, before that we have to understand where we stand. We stand in a turbulent flow of laws, turbulent flow of a stream or river, which we have to make laminar. And then you convert from turbulence to laminar. We have to understand that laminar is a stage where system can be driven, the system can be managed. But in turbulence, in thunderstorm, you cannot have any stream or you cannot have any streamline of your management. So if you have to manage yourself, you have to be suspected, you have to understand yourself first, what you are. You are a citizen of this country doesn't mean that you are nothing. You are honor of this country, and when you are honor of this country, of any company or organization, you have to take responsibility of that entity. And same thing, this is a country, this is a family of 135 crores people. We have to be honor of this country, means we have to take responsibility of this country. If we do not take responsibility, we just want to supply like dogs. This doesn't make anything. The animals are living, dogs, cats, all are living. They are just searching for food, but they are searching for food, searching for clothes, searching for shelter, searching for survival, searching for status, searching for everything. And we are not taking any responsibility, and that's the problem with each and every one of us. We are educated, but we are not waiting for anything. Now, just take, for example, we are sleeping, so why we are sleeping? Just take the last example I'm giving you. There are 35 crores vehicles every day running in this country. You go and check your traffic result. Up to 2015 there were 21 crores, and we apply for all extra permits to the ministry, you'll find that around 33 to 35 crores vehicles are running every day in this country. So you can consume, you should just assess how much fuel you are consuming, petrol, diesel, CNG, what is happening with that, why you are spending that much in this country. You say this is required, yes it is required, but there are alternative sources you can find out. You say what's happening to air pollution, what's happening to ozone layer, and what's happening to, you can say, index of UV, ultraviolet rays. You have to assess yourself. It's not difficult. Yesterday in Ferreras of 14, ultraviolet index was 14. I don't know what's in the city. You can check. Means zero. If it is zero, it's okay. Early morning. If you go to 12 o'clock, you'll find it 5, 6. Okay, that's also fine. But it's a 10. 10 is considered highest mark on ultraviolet index, and which is very dangerous, which can lead you to skin cancer. If you don't take precautionary measures like having coverings on the body and having many other treatments, and this means you cannot work in sun. Means civil engineering is no development engineering. You people cannot work, labor cannot work, managers cannot work, engineers cannot work. Well, without in sun you have to work, but you cannot work. You take example of France. You take example of all those countries which are now. France just exploded this time. They were having 35 to 45 degrees, and when people like mads. In Britain, this had expected 30 degrees Celsius, and they were like mads. How to manage this? It's happening there. So it's happening where we are used to 45, 40 degrees. That's fine, but question of health, question why if we cannot consider this. 35 crores vehicles are running, and you see how many generators are there, how many air conditioners. I think 20 crores air conditioners are working every day in summer. Just think, 20 crores air conditioners, what degree of exhaust it comes, what quantity of the exhaust, and where shall it go? It shall go to air. Then the generators, when light is not there, 35 kV to 50 kV generators are used in all offices. I have seen there personally that outside on footpaths or wherever there's central bus something, they just install generators just for 35 kVA to 50 kVA, and every office building has that. So just see how much fuel you are consuming and what you are giving to public and to nature. Similarly, there are many other, say, flights. Well, flights are at a height of 10 kilometers. You can say, oh, no problem, 10 kilometers, much, we are not inhaling anything there. Yes, you are not inhaling, but taking off and landing is a question mark, because it takes at least 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers when it takes off. So that time it taxes, and how much fuel it is consuming and what is giving you back while it is landing, same thing happens. So there's no one point, a single point. It applies to each and the industries. You go to industry and see what's happening there. Now the electric vehicles are coming. Well, that's a very limited number. Ignorant number. You cannot just say at this stage that we are right. So you being an engineer and a calculator of everything, we have to be very serious. I'm not saying don't use these vehicles, but we can restrain use. For example, our students are not walking these days. They want to go by bus, and parents are feel very pride. Oh, I am leaving my kids to school by my car. Okay, leave by car. But what about physical strength of your kid? That you have to understand. If that kid doesn't know how to walk, that kid doesn't know how to see sun, how to resist sun, What shall that kid learn? Just book knowledge is not adequate. Life is also important. If you cannot stand in sun for 2 3 hours, 1 hour stand, country cannot develop. Labor. You see those laborers, workers who work in sun. You go in Gulf and see. You go to all other sites and see how they were. They are also human beings. They are also kids lying on sun without any clothes. Your kids are more significant. Those ships. Citizens are same, but they are deprived people. They are downtrodden. They don't have money to spend like you have. That's the only difference. That is called, we can say, heterogeneous distribution of money all over people. Somebody has no food and somebody has billions of saris to wear, billions and lakhs of saris to wear, and having billions rupees of bags in their hands. I don't need their names, but this is what is this? This is called stupidity actually. If you have extra money, better use for society. Why to waste in your personal wares? That is not moral of our country. Means we are just showing status. Oh, this man has this car, I should have another car. This is our status. So it's not because of money you are having, because you are wasting nature. Gulf has wasted all petrol. Now they are worried from where to get money. They are resorting to sources like tourism, like many sources. They are investing money in some other countries. Yesterday I heard Qatar is going to spend too much in America, and America is happy. Qatar is coming to me, and America has one airbase in Qatar on Salah Road, and I was there. I was for some time, and he's happy. Saudi and Qatar are now like enemies. UAE and Qatar are like enemies, but America is enjoying from Saudi. I said America is enjoying Qatar and UAE and all that. This is happening. Means some people are just living for making money. Now, at this moment, America is only interested in money and nothing else. China is interested in money, and we are nowhere. We are neither interested in money nor in weather, because we are not developed. We are not developed. We are a poor country. Practically speaking, we are in that level. Our education is rubbish. Our management is rubbish. Our strength is rubbish, and we are trying to see destination milestone to be designated as Vishwaguru, which is just imagination. Just say Vishwaguru. What Vishwaguru? First of all, let us say what is Vishwaguru? Vishwaguru is world teacher. Are we world teacher? We are copying all sciences and formulas of engineering, all mechanism of medicine is from abroad, but we have nothing. We got zero, but we that is also no meaning. We developed nothing. We just copied everything, and we are saying we are Guru. We are not even here. You can say having capacity to provide jobs to our people. Half of engineers which are coming from college every year are unsuitable in industry. They are thrown out. IT people are not considered as engineers. Only civil, mechanical, and those which make development, which start development, root development. These people are not having jobs. What to do? If you cannot consume these people, why are you allowing education to them? Stop colleges, close them. Yes, they have closed colleges, but stop college, make some plan, get to know what you want in coming 10, 15, 20, 40 years, like Gulf is doing 2030. Now they are saying by up to 2030, we are going to spend 90 lakh crores in railways. What does it mean? Shall you spend 90 lakh crores in railways, which is having just a budget of, you can say 90,000 crores, is having some scale or no? From where you will get this money and how you spend this money is really misleading provisions in our plans. We have no plans. Every project must have a plan. A project has to develop. But we don't have any kinds of such plans at national level and state level. We are just boosting. Every year, millions of cubic water is wasted for nothing and rain. Now it's monsoon season. Rain water is wasted, and we could not build preservators. We could not build reservoirs. We could not build canals. We could do nothing. Just years and decades have gone. I'm lamenting all political parties responsible for this, Congress or BJP, whosoever. I'm not concerned with anyone, because first the nation, then political parties, and then business. Nation is suffering. It has suffered. Nation suffers, the public suffers, and public suffers means the kids suffer. Everything suffers. Future suffers. We make future, but we are losing future. We have no plan at all, and we are not serious enough to understand. No government has been serious. Indira Gandhi was advised by someone, by some engineer, that start this cross-linking program, but no one did. No one is serious so far, and this government knows nothing. Niti Ayog is Niti-less Ayog. Planning Commission has been dissolved. There is no document that can tell you what shall happen in coming 50 years, but nobody can tell you how many professionals shall be required, how many children, how many schools shall be required, how many doctors shall be required, how many hospitals shall be required, and what railway stand should be, and what roads should be there. No, how many canals you should have, how much you've been. There is no plan at all. When you start a small building, say 50 square meter building, you have to make so many tries, you have to check soil investigation, you have to do everything, you have to understand soil, you have to understand foundation, you have to understand structure and architecture and everything. Only then you can move it. When you start a small design of mechanical part, you have to think every how it should fit into machine and how it can work and all that you have to do. But this government and this public, I am just lamenting first public, then government. Government is appointed by public. MPs are appointed by public. I don't care for them; they can be replaced. But public cannot be replaced. And our public is, which is super government, is not serious. Unfortunately, first I blame all those educated people who are having higher degrees, because their degrees meaningless. PhD, ME, or whatever they are, these are having got no meaning because there is no quality. I have seen hundreds of buildings everywhere. There is no quality assurance. There is no quality requirement, quality material quality or system quality. Nothing works. Every engineer wants to know, and nobody cares for anything. May is 99, 95%, maybe in 5% there may be good engineers. I'm not blaming them, but when it's ignorable, you cannot control. You cannot count that. Nobody cares for anything. Materials are just not taken care of. Systems are not taken care of. Processes are not taken care of. Labor is not properly trained. They are not taught. There are institutions that can develop their skills. They don't know how to mix concrete. They don't know how to mix mortar. They don't know how to use water, how to measure. But there's no system at all. Just laymen are there who are calling themselves builders and promoters. They're wasting material. Money is not saved. If your money is saved, fine, I agree. But there is no. They are spending overuse of steel. Where there is 12 mm buyer, where there is 12 buyer rebar reinforcement basket, they have 20 mm or 25 mm, which is completely nonsense, waste of steel. They think it's better. They don't understand anything. They are not fixing any concrete sections. They don't know what shall happen in fire. They don't know, well, seismic action can be controlled, but question of fire is very important. When there is a fire, they have to understand that external surface of concrete is impacted upon and that goes weakened. And you have to consider reduced section in that case after fire, but there is no reduced section because there is no consideration of anything. So no problem what happens, it will happen. I have seen many people, they don't care for quality and clients don't want quality and forget about architects. I don't discuss with them because this class is useless class. And then these people actually spoiled construction in housing. They are responsible because engineers usually often used to work in government sectors and they want to come back. Architects are private people. They never had any seriousness in this. Question is, our country, if you go to private sector, same thing is happening there. There's no difference at all. Nothing else. Even if you see metro, okay, structure was okay, but go and see how it is. It's so poorly maintained. Really, no accountability, nothing. What to do? My question is, my issue is, I am not blaming all. If you just take care of your country, it's okay. Now, 50 to 60% people in this country are supported people. Means in your family, say 6 people, 2 may be earning, 4 may not be earning, they are dependent on you. Same thing applies to this country. There are 135 crore people, but hardly 20 to 30, 40 crore people work and others are of no use. Maybe they are senior citizens, veterans, or they are not. They are, that's what I'm saying, dependent people. Children, kids, they cannot work. So 40% people in this country only work. 40% means you can say about 50 crores people. 50 crores people work, and out of these 50 crore people, there are about 15 to 20 crore people which are not productive. One, they are just transaction people, they are dealers, handling materials, handling actions, handling transportation, handling business. Their production is not, you can say, countable. People who are working in factories, who are working in industries, who are working in borders, people are working in construction, in real estate. Construction real estate is of much significance because 70% budget go to construction, either privately or you can say state-wise or central. All budgets 60 to 70% go to real estate construction, to roads construction, to industry construction, wherever civil work is required, and that has got no meaning at all because there is no assurance control, there is no requirement control. There are certifications of IS 9000, there are certifications of Sigma, and everything is there, but these are meaningless because certification doesn't mean quality, certification doesn't mean education. You have to know work speaks, but it's not speaking. I'm not giving any lecture or nothing, I'm not just that. I'm just talking about we are not serious, and we have to be serious if we want to go ahead, or else we'll just like we are living in a well. We call frog of a well. We don't know what frog of a river is, what frog of a beach is, and we don't want to be that. This is our particular achievement in this country since independence. We have not advanced. There was time for a few decades when people were good, engineers reliable, doctors popular. Now doctors are businessmen, engineers are, you cannot name engineers, but they are, I don't know whether they are engineers. If you go to government sector and talk to a chief engineer, and others, you will not find any engineering caliber index, and not a person may be there, but you shall not find anything with them. Just talk of them. I talk to many engineers. What is they don't know anything about it. They just don't want to know why. They just want to be administrators and officers, and that's it. People are not interested to work as real engineers. And until people work as real engineers, you cannot develop this country. You are IAS officer, you be ISO, you be top class engineer. It doesn't mean anything. If you are not productive, if you are not result oriented, if you have no destiny, no milestone fix, you cannot comply with contracts, you cannot comply with requirements, you cannot comply with technicalities, you cannot comply with commercial work, you cannot deliver anything. That's a fact of life. You may agree or you may not agree, it shall not make any adverse effect on my health, but fact remains as it is. We have to understand that this is country which has to develop. We develop other countries. We develop whole Gulf. We develop Middle East, Libya, Iraq, all those countries. We developed those quality assured quality control. Though there was no highest 9,000 there, but there was work. They believed in work, and we believe in documents. If I have document of completion, they say yes, your building is complete. If I don't document the occupation, oh, this is a plot. This is not building. This is difference here. We are documented oriented people, and document may be forced one, it may be false one, and whatever it is, we accept that. We don't accept reality of life. People, particularly I'm saying engineers are scared community. Engineers, I'm blaming engineers first, because engineers is first requirement everywhere. Without engineers, it is forest, it is orchard. You cannot convert forest to a city if there is no civil engineer. First blame should go to civil engineer, and then second blame should go to other engineers, mechanical, electrical, and IT come at last. If there is no building, where shall you sit? Mechanical engineer will not sit, electrical will not sit. Civil can sit anywhere. He can sit on a stone on road, he can sit on a tree platform, or he can stand wherever he is. He can just take a rough paper and write on that. Engineers are used to that, surveyors are used to it, that is no problem. Question is, now it is changing. Everyone wants to sit in an air-conditioned office, work from computer, and that's it. That's control. That is the administration nowadays. And that is a difference, that engineers coming now are baseless, workless, potentialless, cannot face sun, cannot face wind, and they just want to earn money. They don't want to convert anything to anything. They just say, I'm this and that, that's all. I don't know more else. This is the problem. They don't know study. They think once they get degree, it's adequate. No, it's not adequate. Getting degree is no meaning at all, whatever level of education you get, until you apply that. If you don't apply that, your whatever degree you have is useless. Even if you are PhD in engineering, you are useless, because you cannot apply that. And theory has no meaning if it can be used for public. You must have delivery-oriented caliber. If you cannot do that, you are not engineer. Engineer means who can deliver, nothing else. I don't need an engineer who can just design and forget that. He can design, but that design is not implementable in the field. What's the meaning of that? It should be constructible design. Simply doing design has got no meaning. It should be constructed. If it's not constructed comfortably and according to requirements, it has no meaning. You may produce very good design, you may produce very good planning. What does it mean? If siteman cannot understand, foreman cannot understand, the mason and workers cannot understand, there's no meaning of design. You design anything, you give a package of designs for a building, it got no meaning at all, because you don't know how to communicate your information. You have to see what is the availability in market and how it can work well. Constructability is more important than designability. Designability can be done using computer, and everybody can do it. Once you learn computer, you have but experienced person can do very well design. A person who is experienced on site, who knows construction, he can do better design than a person who is just a designer. Well, it's not a discrimination of this, but question is, we have to make ourselves deliver to society. If there are 20% engineers who are calibered one, who can deliver, this country can change. We don't know, these crores of engineers or lakhs of engineers, 10 lakhs of engineers are coming every year. What does it mean? For what they are coming? There's no need. We don't engineers, we don't have work, we have no development. Where you spend work, this will shall not work as sweepers, this shall work PM, and that's the result. They are sitting and they are getting into criminals. It applies to everyone. If civil people cannot work, then this mechanical cannot work, electrical cannot work, no other can work. So we have to be serious. First, we have to understand ourselves. We have to understand the provisions of constitutional laws. Until we understand them, we cannot understand our nation. These politicians shall keep pushing to see, and they have done this. These people are enjoying fruits and powers without having qualifications, without having competency and consistency, and they are in power for decades. They have been there, and they shall keep like this because they are not serious. We leave to them everything. They shall plan, they shall do. Why should we depend upon them? Why don't we force them? We have to force them, and that's why my question is, politicians cannot run this country. IAS cannot run this country. IPS is something else. We have to run this country, but we cannot run because we are not running. Until we start running, we cannot do anything. So whose blame it is? It's our blame. I am interested in my future. I'm not interested in your future. I am interested in my personal, my wife future, my kids future, my family future, my relations future. Everybody is ready to reach, get approach. and get something benefit. That's it, nothing else. Really, it is very regretful situation. Country is going to blast one day. It's going to happen. Your access of everything is bad, and this will happen soon. Don't worry. Now there's a clash between society and politics. It's going to start. There's a clash between communities. It's going to start. If situation as it is grim today, it continues, this country shall become one day in coming time like Israel and Palestine. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. There's a difference between Hindus and Muslims. Their mob lynching, their other issues, their politics, their EVM issue. There are so many things which are all against society. Robbing, cheating, blackmailing, false statements, everything is moving in society. Even with level of prime minister to level of PM, everything is happening like this. Prime minister is not a responsible person. Cabinet ministers are more superior than prime minister. They can speak anything. So there is no continuation. There is no continuity of honesty. There is no continuation of liability. There is no continuation of accountability. Everybody is accountable, and when everybody accountable, there is no accountable. There is no responsible man. If you give something on behalf of public to someone, public take this, you maintain this park, nobody will maintain this. If you take responsibility, by one person give responsibility to one, it will maintain. If all, Janata Party in 1977, what happened? Everybody wanted to be prime minister and nothing happened. It just collapsed. Responsibility must be shared, it must be given, it will be counted, accounted, but it's not. And that's our problem. If we do not change ourselves, we cannot change this country. And when you cannot change this country, you know what you are. You have no value. First, you respect yourself. You should say with solid standing that this is my nation. Only then I can say I belong to this country. If I am played by these politicians, I am played by these chief ministers who are nothing, nothing and nothing. They are just enjoying power without having any degree, any qualification, any knowledge, any contribution to nation or society, and they are powerful people. Prime Minister did nothing in the last 5 years, and he is again in power because people allowed him, or whatever by EVM robbery or whatever did, he is in fact in power because he knew we are sleeping. Had we been awakened, what would have happened? You just imagine there will be no person like this. These politicians brought 233 criminals into Lok Sabha, and we are just sitting. That's it. We have no blood burning, no nothing, and this is our nature. So what to do? Well, I will not take further because I will start direct to principles after some time. It's already more than 1 hour, and don't waste your time. Only morning time, you have to go to your jobs and everything. You'll get done. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for all of you, and Ashok and all those over there. Thanks once again, and I'll take later on talk about this and Jai Bharat.